everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or Hobbit's Reading List. And this week, the week itself is like fine, but this weekend is going to be very busy. So let's just get into it. So it's a Thursday because, as usual, I just haven't read. Well, I mean, I did read Monday, but I included that in last week's vlog because I was finishing a book. And I read Tuesday, but it was from the Torah, so I don't usually talk about that much. And then yesterday was when I did most of my reading. So now we're starting the vlog. So this is really more like a weekend vlog, but I should get a lot of reading done. Or at least a lot of audiobook done. So we can talk about that. So yesterday I went to work, which means that I listened to the Ragpicker King on my commute to and from. So I'm at 21% through. It's not bad, honestly, because it is like a very long book. But it's interesting because I could have swore in the first book, The Ragpicker King is a sequel. It's a sequel to Swordcatcher. Swordcatcher follows this guy, Kel, who has been... He was an orphan, and he has been raised alongside the prince, Connor, because they look enough alike that they could be cousins. But secretly, Kel has been raised to be Connor's swordcatcher, which means that with magic, he actually can take Connor's place at like events if there's ever a threat to Connor's safety. So Kel is essentially Connor's bodyguard, but also like built-in best friend. And Kel will do anything to protect Connor, which has led to him making some decisions that he feels like Connor would probably be upset about if he ever knew. And so the Ragpicker King is sort of following along with that idea. I don't want to say much because obviously we're in a sequel, and so there's spoilers, so there's that. There's also Lynn, who is a female physician of the Ashkar people, who have a lot in common with the Jewish people, if you know history. The Ashkar are, sort of ostracized, looked down on. There are a lot of like stereotypes and tropes that are negative, like most stereotypes and tropes. And so like Lynn, it sort of navigates this world of like, in the Salt, which is the part of the town where the Ashkar live, she can just sort of be herself, although she's looked down on for wanting to be a physician because she's female. But when she's in Castellane, which is the wider society, she is looked down on for being Ashkar. But she ended up meeting Kel and Connor, and so her and Kel are friends. Her and Connor are friendly, kinda. And so their plots sort of like go in and out of each other. It's really interesting. But listen to the Ragpicker King yesterday, and we're getting more. What I like, honestly, I like that it's kind of slower. Like, it's not just like bam, 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 like a lot of fantasy can be. Like, this is slower, this is building up tension, this is focusing on the relationships of the people, which is, for me, is huge. Like, I read for the relationships, whether it's friendship or romantic or whatever. And so I really like that this series is focusing on that aspect. So I'm enjoying it. I expected to, because I loved Swordcatcher so much. So, but I'm glad that I'm enjoying Ragpicker King. I'm glad I'm not disappointed. But, so I will be listening to more of that this weekend because I'm going to and from work tomorrow as well as Temple, which means I'll be in the car for roughly about 3.5 hours instead of just like well, no. I'll be in the car closer to 4 hours as opposed to like 2.5. And then I'm also going to back to Chicago on Saturday to pick up a friend to go to Milwaukee for this like nerd market thing. And so while I won't listen to the audiobook when my friend is with me, I will have about an hour or so going to and from Chicago to pick them up. So that's additional time. And Sunday, I'm going to and from work. So this weekend will be full of the Ragpicker King. I do not think that I will finish it. I will say that right now. Like, I'm only 21% through right now, so I'm roughly doing 10% every 2 hours. So while I will make a good chunk, I will not finish it. So just setting that expectation now. There's that. And then yesterday I had some breaks in between meetings, and so I also started reading 8 Very Bad Nights, which is a collection of like Hanukkah noir short stories. And so, they're not feel good stories at all. I'm pretty sure all of them involve death in some way. At least the first 2 have. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, all of them should, I think. But it is interesting reading like holiday stories that are not heartwarming or cozy or anything. So the first one was this guy that he spent some time in prison, and he is not Jewish. But while he was in prison, he met this like Jewish guy who was very like just very kind of shut down, like very cold kind of. And the main character, I think his name is, I don't know. I don't think I know what his first name is. I think he had a nickname, but I don't think it's something I can say online. But the main character, like, was always kind of, like, put off of him. But they end up meeting again after prison, and Mikey is the Jewish person's name. He ends up sort of alluding to, like, the truth of why he was in prison. And the main character's like, huh. So that was fun. That was interesting. And then the second story that I read, which was much longer, was about this guy whose name I don't remember if I knew it, who essentially like moved back in with his parents in Brooklyn and took care of them as they aged, and sort of reflecting on like how his relationship with his mother was, and then like after she's gone, like how his relationship with his father was, and then he's gone, and sort of reflecting on how his parents were so focused on like assimilating that they were not like even culturally Jewish anymore, and how he was trying to balance like taking care of them and being in their home and respecting that, while also feeling more in touch kind of with his Judaism and trying to reconnect with that. So it was really interesting. I really liked it. But I have like there's like 9 more stories or something. But I don't know when I'll have time to read it, because I have a lot to do this weekend. I have to write up a little speech thing because I'm talking at Shabbat tomorrow. And then I have to do my homework this week, so I have to write a creative nonfiction piece, which I don't even know what the prompt is, so I haven't even thought about it at all. Oh, I have to finish editing my paper for my banned books class because it's due tomorrow night. Which, like, that won't take long. I shouldn't have too many edits, I think. So there's that. Those are the 3, like, writing-related things that I have to do. But also, as I mentioned, like, I have Shabbat work in Shabbat tomorrow, and then I'm going to Milwaukee on Saturday, and then Sunday I work, and I'm getting dinner with a high school friend of mine and his girlfriend. So Sunday I'm going to be back late. So, like, yeah, I honestly don't know when I'll have time to read. But it'll be fine, because this weekend's going to be full of the Ragpicker King. Which, honestly, I'm excited about, because I'm having a good time with it. So, I'm going to end this, and then probably not film tomorrow, because I really don't think I'll have time to read today. But I will try to film Saturday before I leave for Milwaukee. Okay, so it has been a minute. Not quite a full week, I think, but close. I had posted earlier this week in my community page thing that I was gonna make this a 2-week vlog. One, because I didn't think that this current week, which is the week of Thanksgiving in America, that I would have a lot of time to read because my dad and my sibling are up here, and so I'm, spending a lot of time with them, so I didn't think I'd have a lot of time to read, which I have been kind of correct about that. And last week, I pretty much, because I've already talked about starting 8 Very Bad Nights, so other than that, I've pretty much only continued listening to the Ragpicker King, which I can't really talk that much about because it's a sequel, and to talk about any of the plot points that have come up would be to give away spoilers for the first book in the series, which is Swordcatcher. So yeah, there's that. I will say that one of my classes is officially done. My last assignment was turned in, so that's my banned books class is done now. So that's great. And I have 2 more assignments for my creative nonfiction class, one of which I will do this upcoming weekend, and then the other one isn't due for another 2 weeks. So after this weekend, reading will be my main focus, because pretty much in order to reach my goal, my reading goal for the year, which is 115 books, I think, I kind of have to read 25 books in December. So yeah, there's that. But okay, I do want to talk about the books. Well, I don't remember last time I filmed, to be very honest, but I did listen quite a bit to Ragpicker King because I went to work on Friday, and then I went to temple, and then I came home, which means that I had I'd say 3.5 hours of driving time, so that got me through a solid chunk. And then sort of the same on Sunday, because I went to work and then I went to Chicago. I got dinner with a high school friend of mine, and then I drove home. So I listened to, again, quite a bit. I'm at, I want to say I'm 60% through. I don't know if I will finish it this week, but I think I will get very close. Because if I'm able to listen the entire time, I can get about 10% done each commute. Like the commute to work, and then, no, I think it's each commute, so including to and from. So maybe not. But we will see. I am still really enjoying it. I'm very intrigued. There were several times so far this week that I've had the thought of well, what if I just pick up my physical copy and read it, since I'm not driving? And while that is a very valid thought, I have another book that I have to read by Monday. So not picking up that book in order to read Ragpicker King would not be very responsible or blah 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 blah. So there's that. But I am really enjoying it. I think it's really well done. I think the subplots are really interesting. And I like that there are romantic elements, there are romantic subplots that I am very intrigued by, but it's not the focus, which is different for me. But I think with I think this is considered epic fantasy. With an epic fantasy, I don't really want romance to be the focus. I don't read romantasy that much. And so if I'm reading a fantasy book, I want the plot and the world to be the focus. And if there's some romance sprinkled in there, great. I love that. So yeah, I think it's just really well done. And I looked, because I had been under the impression it's a trilogy, and I think that's correct. But Amazon has it as a duology, which is very strange. But from what I can see, Amazon's just wrong. So there's that. And then the only other thing that I've read is I read another short story from Eight Very Bad Nights. It was a little bit of a longer one, and it was interesting. It was about this guy who was in prison for a while, and he had met this other inmate, and they became friendly, and then that inmate was diagnosed with dementia, and so was released to like assisted living or something. But he had been arrested because of a diamond heist or something, but the diamonds were never found. And so this guy is, trying to figure out where the diamonds are. And there's this couple of different subplots. It was really interesting. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but I didn't dislike it either. So it was interesting. But I also got a message from someone who typically comes to my book club that this book is for. And she was just like, Robin, I hate this book. I think she DNF'd it. Which I totally get because it doesn't fit her vibe. It doesn't fit my vibe. And so I'm not offended at all. Like, I try to pick books that have variety. I can't pick a romance every time. But I try to, change it up so that I can get a variety of people's interests. But I thought that was so funny. But she's still going to come to the meeting because she did try to read it. So that's, I'm thankful for that. That'll be a really interesting discussion. And yeah, that's about it. So I have a pretty light day today because it's the day before Thanksgiving. I have a virtual meeting, and then I have to go to the office tonight for a couple more meetings because they can't be virtual. Which is fine. Like, yes, it kind of sucks because it's only 2 meetings that I'm driving a total of like 2.5 hours for. But it does mean I get to listen to more of the Ragpicker King. So I'm not that upset about it. And then tomorrow, I predict will just be full of cooking and eating and playing games with the family. So yeah, I think that's about it. I will probably try to film another clip on Friday to talk about what I listened to today. And then my dad and sibling leave Saturday, so I will be doing homework that day. And hopefully reading more, because I do have to finish 8 Very Bad Nights by the end of this weekend. So that's sort of the plan. But yeah, I think I made the right decision to be like, yeah, this is going to be a 2-week vlog, just because I just didn't think I would read that much, and I was correct. Okay, so I was going to film yesterday, and then I didn't. It is currently like 4:30 in the morning. My dad and sibling left about an hour and a half ago, and it's gonna start snowing like a lot up here. And while I don't think they're gonna get caught in it, I'm just like staying up and tracking their location just to make sure everything's fine because I have anxiety. And also, I got a comment on like a video from like, I don't know, like a year ago or something. Someone, just a random person, asked on the video, like, could you have read instead of making this video? And I'm like, I work full time. I'm a part time student. And I make videos because for me, it's almost like a form of journaling. And even though I don't talk a lot about like the details of like my days and things, like it is a way for me to kind of process or, you know, just keep track of things, and also to have a reason to document things that go on. And the fact is, I'm not trying to like get rich or anything from a YouTube. Like, would it be nice? Sure, yeah. But also, that's a lot of work, and I realize I don't have that much time. And I've just been sort of thinking about it because that's the reason I have a YouTube, is to document. And unfortunately, especially the past few months, that is me documenting that I've just not had that much time to read. And that bums me out for a lot of reasons. One, because I think it's boring for people who do watch my videos to see every week of like, oh, I just didn't like get to read that much, or oh, I didn't finish a book, like, and that sucks because like I do know that some people watch my videos, and I'm sure that's not the greatest, but it's also like, but also this is the peek into a life of a 30 something full-time employee, part-time student who also has a social life. Like, sorry, there's just gonna be some times where I'm just fall behind on my reading. So there's that. So anyway, I just wanted to say that I did listen to more of course the air turned on. I did listen to more of the Ragpicker King. I want to say like 68% through. So what I'm thinking about doing, and of course I'm 68% through, so even if I could talk about it, even if it wasn't a sequel, I'm far enough in the book that I don't feel comfortable talking about the details. I don't think I mentioned this. I kind of spoiled myself on some things, which I'm kind of glad about because because the Ragpicker, well, the Swordcatcher series, or no, what's the series called? Something of Castellane. It's an epic fantasy, and it's looking at the monarchy. There's a lot of politics in it, and the spoilers that I found, because I was trying to look up details about Swordcatcher, because I didn't reread Swordcatcher before I started listening to Ragpicker King, so I was missing some details, and I kind of stumbled on some spoilers. Spoilers don't personally bother me. In fact, I like them because it will, if it's a book that I'm interested in reading, it will usually intrigue me more, which is what has happened here. And if it's a book that I'm not really interested in reading, it's like, all right, cool, well, I can go ahead and DNF because this, like, knowing what's going to happen did not intrigue me more, so I'm actually not that into it. But the spoilers that I read intrigued me more, and it's having me pay attention in different ways because I'm like, okay, I want to see how that happens because I did not even have an inkling. Whereas I think if I didn't have the spoiler when this reveal happened, I would be like, what the fuck? Like, I don't think I would like it as much. So, but that's just me. So yeah, what I was thinking about doing, because I will not finish the Ragpicker King tomorrow by driving to work. However, I also have to drive to Chicago Monday night for a book club meeting. And I think what I want to do, I have a couple different things, because essentially I do really want to meet my reading goal. I'm almost done with my assignments. I have like 2 more writing assignments, but I have like 3 weeks to do it. And I think in order to meet my reading goal, I have to kind of read like 25 books in December. So, I think what I want to do is, today I have to do homework. I think I might, once the sun actually rises, I think I might try to go to sleep for a couple hours. I will just feel better knowing that my family is driving in daylight. I can't explain it. But after I wake up, I will do homework, do some stretching, because I think I mentioned I sprained my ankle. I think so. I'm not going to get into that. I've been processing. It's whatever. And then, so those two things, I need to film my December TBR because that's going to go up on December 2nd. And then, hopefully, I will finish reading. Well, I will continue reading. I'm not going to, be unrealistic. I will continue reading 8 Very Bad Nights, hopefully finish it by tomorrow. And then continuing this vlog through Monday so that I can finish the Ragpicker King in this vlog. And then maybe Monday reading just like a shorter book, maybe a novella or something. Because I have a couple like holiday novellas that I've been saving. So I kind of think that I will do that. So that way I'm reading more and, starting to get back on track. And I'm hoping that since I'm graduating this semester, that come January, I will have more time to read more consistently like I want to. Because, I've just felt like this year my reading has slowed down. Even though I think technically I'm at the same place where I was this time last year, but it just felt so much slower. So, I don't know. The last 6 months have been weird. But that's sort of my plan. And as I said, making videos is kind of how I process. So this is me processing. And I do want to thank the people who watch my videos, who interact with me, and that if you don't like my videos, that you just don't do anything. I like that too, because this is mainly for me. So, those are my thoughts. I've now processed. It is now 4:39 in the morning, and I'm hungry, so I'm probably gonna have a snack. And I think I'm gonna start watching Heated Rivals because the first 2 episodes are out. And Heated Rivals is the adaptation of a novel of the same name, which is a hockey romance, and it is very hot. And I've been reading on Threads some reviews, and now I'm just like, I wanted to watch it already, but now I definitely want to watch it. So I think that's what I'm going to do until the sun rises, and then probably try to fall asleep for a little bit. Okay, so I finished 2 books yesterday, which is good. Okay. So first I finished 8 Very Bad Nights. And it was okay. Like, it's a collection of noir stories, all based around Hanukkah in some form. And it wasn't bad. I think if you enjoy, like, noir stories or darker stories, then these were probably very good. I'm just not typically someone who enjoys that. Like, I am typically reading as an escape. And I typically like to know that there's some sort of, like, happy ending. And noir just doesn't have that a lot. So, it was never going to be a 5-star, just based off of my personal preferences. I do think it's well written. And again, if you like noir stories, if you like crime or thrillers or anything like that, like, I would recommend it. I'm just not that person. And the book club meeting that was last night, the people who attended, it was not the book for them either. And that's also fine. I try to go for variety for this book club, and sometimes it works for people, sometimes it doesn't, and that's totally fair. So I gave 8 Very Bad Nights 3 stars because I do think it was good, just, again, not to my preferences. So I had been planning to finish listening to the Ragpicker King on my way to Chicago for the book club meeting. However, it has been snowing a lot here, and it started snowing again last night, and the roads were not the best, and someone was making a left turn, and, you know, I tried to slow down to not hit them, and I successfully did not hit them, but my car did not stop, and so I did what you're typically supposed to do, and started going to the side so that I would continue to not hit them, and I hit a snowbank. So the front bumper of my car is gone. I was stuck in the snowbank for about an hour total, waiting for the tow truck, and then a police officer came and called his tow guy to get me out, and then I had to drive to the shop that's going to look at my car and tell me how bad it is. So all this while having a sprained ankle and a cane, which meant that, so the thing is, like, I wear an ankle brace if I'm walking around, and the ankle brace is like just bulky enough, like it's not, honestly it's not that bulky, but it's just bulky enough that I can't wear most of my shoes. So for the past like 3 weeks when I've been going out, I've been either wearing a certain pair of flats that are roomier, or flip-flops. So last night I was wearing flip-flops, so I could not get out of my car because I would immediately like go down into the snow and risk frostbite. So that was fun. Yeah, so I didn't go to my book club meeting. I asked someone else that I knew that was attending if she could lead the discussion. She did great. And yeah, so I got home after like 2 hours of like dealing with this. And I'm like, well, I still want to finish Ragpicker King. So I could have read it physically, but like I find it really hard to shift if I've only been in the audiobook for 19 hours. I'm like, no. So I put my earpods in and I listened to the last like 2 hours of it, just playing games on my phone. So I did finish it last night anyway, but yeah, it was, I was frustrated. I think it ended very well. I'm glad that like the major things that happened like weren't necessarily resolved, but they weren't cliffhangers either. Like there was more development on it that like we left in a good place, even though it wasn't resolved, because this is a series. So I feel good about that. I would like there to be an announcement about the next book in the series, because I feel like that should be happening soon, so that I'm not waiting like another year. Because I'm really curious. I really care about these characters, which is really nice because I don't read epic fantasy a lot, because I feel like a lot of it is just like super dark lately. And again, dark is not necessarily my thing, but I think the Swordcatcher series does a good job of balancing like the reality of what would have happened in this world with all the like politicking and everything, with still being not lighthearted. It's not lighthearted at all, but like not getting lost in all the grim darkness of it all, because like, and the people who like grim dark fantasies, like that's all, you have stronger stomachs than I do. That's awesome. But I like that this is accessible and it's not like a super big bummer. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed Ragpicker King. I really want the next book in the series. Honestly, if it was already out, I would have probably just started it, because I want to see what happens, but it's not even been announced. So I gave it 4.5 stars because it was very good. And yeah, that's about it. So that's what I've done. Again, very glad that I made this a 2-week vlog, because yeah, I would not have. I just didn't read that much last week. So I'm glad with what I was able to do. Leave me a comment if you are also wanting the next book in the Swordcatcher series, so we can, you know, validate each other. Like the video, subscribe, click notification bell, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye!